Good morning, fifth grade Broncos. This is Miss Brandon. Today's science lesson is going to include a lot of different things. And so I have a little agenda so we can quickly review all the things we're going to do today during our science lesson. Okay, so first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to talk to you about visual literacy. And I don't know if you remember from last year with visual literacy mats, you should have been doing them for several years. Well, we're going to be doing them this year, but a little different because we're doing virtual learning. And I'm going to talk to you about a program called Flipgrid, where you can record your video responses to questions. And that's just a good way, an easy way for you to answer questions with your iPad. And then we're going to talk about Jamboard. Now, Jamboard is just like putting Post-it notes digitally up on a board. So just for us, a way for us to share and collaborate like we're writing Post-it notes. Really fun and simple. And then I'm going to review our science journal again because we're going to be making an entry today. And then last, I'm going to have a lab safety lesson. All right, are you ready? Great. Let's get started.
This would be your visual literacy mat if we were in class, and we would do this every week. However, it isn't very interactive for when you're working at home, so we're going to find other ways to do visual literacy without you filling out a worksheet. And so for this week, we're going to be using Flipgrid. And so you're going to be uh, answering the questions on video and then listening to other classmates. So you're still going to be looking at the video and answering questions. It's just going to be on video instead of on the worksheet. You're going to need to download Flipgrid from self-service, and this is what the icon looks like. If you use the icon and click on it, you will just enter the code to join, and then you can immediately look at the question and record right from the app. You also can connect to Flipgrid directly from Google Classroom. Just click on the attachment Flipgrid and then open up in Safari. The first time you log in, it will ask you to enter your Google password and sign up. So just use your same login as you use for Google Classroom. And then you will see the photo and question here. It says, tell me what you see in this picture. What do you wonder about it? Tell me in a video. Record your video first, and then watch two classmates' videos and post a video response to their videos. So all you need to do to record a response is click the record a response button. If you're not in the app, it will direct you to the app. So it's probably just as easy to go ahead and do it in the app. Now, if you're shy or nervous, well, first of all, you should know that this is going to be a private platform, and only fifth graders and teachers from Florence Hill can review and look at your responses. But if you are feeling shy, you can record with just your voice and not your face. You only have 1.5 minutes to record your video. That's all the time you get. And you can always review it and check it and re-record if you decide before you post it. All right, hope that makes sense. Let me know if you have any questions. All right, and then the next activity today is you're going to look at this safety poster that's in Google Classroom, and you're going to see what you can see that are safe practices and what are the unsafe practices that you see. After you've done that, you're going to go to our Jamboard, and the link is in the Google Classroom. You're going to click on that. Now it will say unsupported file, so you have to click that little square up in the right hand corner, and then the Jamboard will open up. When the Jamboard first opens up, you're going to see my directions, and you're going to see responses from other students. It's fine to go ahead and start reviewing the other students' responses first, or you can just write your own first. You're going to post 2 sticky notes. The first one in green is going to be a safety procedure you see that's safe, and then the orange one will be an unsafe procedure you see and you saw in the photo. Now on the left hand side, I just clicked on that 4th icon from the bottom, that little square, and then it pulls up the sticky notes, and then I'm going to click on the green, and then I'm going to write my name first, and then I'm going to describe a safe practice that I saw from that photo. And when I'm done, I'm just going to hit save. And then the sticky note's still going to be here, so then I'm going to pick orange, and I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to write my name, and this time I'm going to pick an unsafe practice I saw from the photo, and then I'm going to click save again. Now the very last thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to click out of here, back onto the Jamboard, and then I can take my sticky notes that I've created and I can move them, and I can resize them, and just there, now I'm ready to go. I can put them wherever I want. There will be several different boards. You can put your stickies up on any spot on any of these pages. Then you're going to click done, and then the X, and then you're back in Google Classroom. You know, always mark the assignment as done once you have completed the assignment. That way we know to look for your work. Thank you. All right, now for your journal, you're going to click on Keynote, and then you're going to open up your presentation. Remember, you click on presentations, you can see all of the presentations you have, and you should have your 2 journals in there, and just pick your science journal. And then in table of contents, I'm going to add a text box, and I'm going to write page 1, lab safety. Great. Now I'm going to click that bottom left corner, and I'm going to add a page so that I can add my notes for the day. I'm going to put a 1, add a text box to put page 1, and then a title. Don't forget, you can click that paintbrush and you can change the font and the size of your text. Now, besides just text and writing, there's tons of shapes and different things that you can put into your journal. So you don't just have to write or type into your journal. You can draw, you can add pictures, whatever is going to help you remember what we learned in science. So for my lab safety lesson, I remember to walk, don't run. So I'm going to put a person walking, and then I'm going to make a note to myself to walk, don't run. That's one thing I remember from the science safety lesson today. The next thing you're going to want to do after you've finished putting all the notes is to you're going to do 3, 2, 1 in your science journal. Now this is required for your science reflection. You're going to write 3 things you learned today, 2 things you found interesting, and 1 question you still have. And then once you're done, go back into Google Classroom and mark that it's done.
All right, well, I hope you enjoyed learning about all those neat apps we're going to be using this year. Now, the more we get to use them, the more comfortable you're going to be, and they're going to be no big deal. But when we're first learning them, it might be a little bit confusing. So if you have any issues, then be sure and first just take your time and go easy with it. And if you can't figure it out, let me or Miss Reeves know and we'll help you. But the more you do it, the more you try, the more we use them, they're just going to become super easy. So no worries, okay? All right, so I appreciate you listening to all that, paying attention. And now the last thing we're going to do is we're going to have our lab safety lesson. Now you're 5th grade and you've been doing labs for all these years, and I know you know the rules for working in a lab, but it's always good to be reminded of the safety rules and the procedures, and it's just a great idea so that we all remember them, and we will remind you about these throughout the year. So just let's take a look at my presentation for lab safety. All right, here's our lab safety rules with help from SpongeBob and the Bikini Bottom Gang. Rule number 1, listen carefully and follow all teacher directions. Read the assignment directions carefully and follow them. Now we see SpongeBob here is reading the directions very carefully. Good job, SpongeBob. Rule number 2, always wear safety goggles whenever you are working with chemicals or other substances that might get in your eyes. Now, glasses are not enough. You need safety goggles, and we will provide those to you if it's needed. We see SpongeBob is here wearing his safety goggles. Good job, SpongeBob. Rule number 3, never touch, taste, eat, drink, or smell lab materials without permission. Now we're seeing Patrick here. It looks like he tried some of our experimental materials, and he doesn't look very good. That was a bad choice, Patrick. We should not do that. Rule number 4, report all accidents, emergencies, or spills to the teacher immediately. Now here's Sandy. She got a spill and she's raising her hand and she's letting the teacher know right away. Good job, Sandy. Rule number 5, wash your hands before and after each experiment. Mr. Krabs is washing his hands. Good job, Mr. Krabs. Rule number 6, use all science lab tools and materials correctly. It's a good rule. Now we see SpongeBob and Squidward are not using the tools correctly. SpongeBob is closing his eyes and he's shaking around the test tube, and he's losing some of the liquid. And Squidward is pouring it out and looking inside. That's just not a good idea. Bad choices, guys. Rule number 7, always clean up your work area and equipment after an experiment is completed. Equipment must be returned to its proper place. Good job, Squidward. He doesn't look real happy about it, but he's cleaning up. Good job, buddy. Rule number 8, never run or push someone else in the lab. This rule applies at all times. So we're seeing Patrick here making a bad choice. He's shoving poor Squidward, and also looks like SpongeBob's moving much too fast for the lab. So be sure in the classroom and in the lab just to keep your hands to yourself and to use your walking feet. Rule number 9, keep lids on bottles and containers when not in use. Rule number 10, never use broken or chipped glassware. Now that's very dangerous. If you ever see broken or chipped glassware in the lab, you let a teacher know right away and don't use it. And rule number 11, keep your work area clean and tidy at all times. All right, well, those are some good rules for us to remember as we do our science inquiry investigations throughout the year. Now that we've done that, I'd like for you to take any notes you have and put it into your science journal. And then in your science journal, after you have completed all your work for the day, I want you to have a reflection on your science lesson for today. You're going to write 3 things that you learned today in science, 2 things that you found interesting, and 1 question you still have. So when you do your science journal, you have to do your science reflection, that 3, 2, 1, and the directions are also in the Google Classroom. Now, besides updating your science journal, you're going to need to do your visual literacy Flipgrid and your science Jamboard, where you're going to look at the safety poster and pick 1 thing that was a safe practice and 1 thing that was unsafe. All right, when you get all of those things done, you're done for the day. All right, everyone, please let us know if you have any questions. We'll talk to you soon. Bye.